I had an uncle who was an Aquarius with an Aquarius Mercury. And your Mercury is your mindset and what you like to talk about. If you want to find out what somebody likes to talk about and their subject matter, look at where their Mercury is, what sign it is, and of course what house. You know, the little coloring there that the houses are ruled by a sign, and then the rising sign will change, which changes the housing, the sign housing, the housing that the signs are in. Anyway, the point is that and he also spent a lot of time in prison. That's just his life. Really being orphaned, or he was in an orphanage in the 30s. And so he's just an institutionalized person, and he knows what comes out of his mouth is just he talks about the humanitarian codes that develop through just a bunch of people living together. Well, they find themselves together and they have to live together, right? They have to do it in harmony. So he speaks a lot about, he's very aware, and this is just what Aquarius really is. Their saying is, I know, and it's on a very human level of just, and when I say human, babes, we don't find very many human beings on the planet. That's one of the things I was saying, and a lot of people like this, like, what do you mean? It's like, no, really. There are mainly, I would say now, based on the information that we get about psychology and what we're looking at there, they call them narcissism, but no, these are the non-human faction, especially the malignant cases. The malignant cases, they're not healable. They are fully non-human, fully encapsulated mind. Children notice them more. They're kind of difficult. The children, unfortunately, they'll have patience for them, but it's like, it's a bummer. And but anybody can notice it if you're just feeling good and you feel and you want to, you're confident and you know how it is to be human, and then you encounter a malignant narcissist. It's very, very, very difficult, right? As an empath, see, we can talk about what an empath is, and that's just a human being. And so now there's malignant cases, which they're saying it's 7 in 10. 7 in 10 people are narcissists. It's like 80% of the population struggle with not knowing the difference between their mind and their subconscious programming and all of that stuff they're trying to be conscious of and all this stuff that they're struggling with their mind, or just reality. This moment now, and then the way to engage, say, be present with people. 80% are confused with that deeply. So that's 7 in 10, but three out of 7 are malignant cases. The other 4 out of the 7 we can consider, well, they're teetering. They need something, a practice or a little poetry or something. That's what we do. We're seekers. We're seekers of something to help us wake up. And it could be a higher learning tool. It could be just, you can learn how to become a human being accidentally by using higher learning tools. One of them that God has given us is sex, particularly lovemaking. Now, that's a different, you talk about it like, what is making love? Well, you can make hate too, using the same shit. See, that's what narcissists can do. They can take anything of your joy, anything that you prize as you. Could be your talent, it could be your lifestyle, your spread, whatever, and they can make you feel uncomfortable in it. Eventually, they can make you not want anything of yourself. Eventually, they will make you throw yourself away. If you make the mistake of recognizing what's there, of not recognizing what's there as far as a malignant case, see, this is highly controversial subject matter when I start talking about in the way of, well, it's because it's not me just saying this. And Jesus, is that what happened to you? Yeah, they just thought I was saying that. It's just the truth, and they would kill anything. Really? Yeah. Oh, that's what we have, babes. We're living in a place where you have cliques and gangs that will kill the human that pops up and says, "Excuse me, this doesn't need to be done this way. In fact, this is kind of poisonous and detrimental to your own potential evolution." About anything, you are more and more following a false prophet. Following a false prophet. Well, what is that? Well, Anything outside of yourself that suggests that you can't figure it out yourself and this is the answer here and just settle for this. And now what's been in the background creeping up is the way, what does money do for us? What does money do? Well, I say that there is this non-human faction that can't have a decent relationship with the human ecology, and so therefore they have money to coerce, but of course they have to strong arm material, right? It's warlike into them and then divvy it out and make them pay when it's really them that has to pay for what? Just raw human energy. They have enslaved raw human energy, human beings that they see. Now talk about the dormant faction. I call them dormant. They are not malignant cases. They're not unhealable. They're just questioning. They're like, they're just kind of on the level of, they would love to know. They are what I would call is the wet soils. The wet soils who, they're just waiting for a real live seed to go on it, not bullshit, not trash. See, there's red herrings. What is called a red herring is when a child or anybody asks a question about, really it's associated with your spiritual values, like what you're experiencing. Like a kid would say, well, what am I experiencing here? They will not be told the truth. Most of the time, 80% of the time, supposedly, and that's what we have is the other 4% out of the 7 who are narcissists and totally confused about what is reality, what is the difference between the mind and reality. See, the 80%, the ones that think they want to get better, they'll be sucked into the mind again, thinking that the mind and reality, which is the mind and the heart, can mingle. That you can find an actual balance between the two. Nope. You're going to have to choose one of these fine times, and I would say lifetimes, but do it in this lifetime. There is reality, the mind of God, and your mind obeys that through the heart. It's an experience, and you have to dare have it. It's hard. Even Joe Dispenza, eventually, that's one of the things you'll always see with these people who say, cater to the mind, cater to the mind. The mind is the one who's going to create reality and the truth and the conditions that you live. It's all coming out of the mind. And it's just not. I say, as a full-fledged woman, sticking up for women that might not know yet, that you do not adopt the man's philosophy, because he's mainly, this is the truth. I mean, he's the one who's susceptible to becoming a mental case, the narcissist. That's just a fact that over the 240 years of psychological studies, that's their disease, because they're prone to the mind, and it's coming from, see, I'm going like this, like, don't hang me, Jesus, they're coming after you, oh shit, I love you, my child. Anyway, it's happening from, now, the term that is there, and I notice it too, there's a lot of women that I can't relate with, is because they're kind of disconnected from their bodies. They don't know what an orgasm is. And so they're in their heads about a lot of things, They're apt to play house in a different way than I would. See, I played house, and all I wanted to do was close the curtains to get under the blankets. You know what I mean? But some other ones are like, they want to control and a certain thing in a way that's got to be. I got to eat dinner. I'm going to feed you dinner. I'm going to feed you breakfast, and I'm going to feed you lunch. And I have seen plenty of deadly women. See, they're getting abused by something. I think they're born into a situation where, think about it, into a male-dominated like scene where this guy is just anger seething right underneath the surface of their nicey nice, which is, I work and take care of all of you, and that's unfair, by the way. See, narcissists, I'm pretty sure, and this is a very controversial matter, right? But no, this is the truth, and I'm bringing it back up. They do family. They're the ones doing family orientation. And mind you, I didn't say friends. They don't have friends. They're doing like emotional incest with family. With family, they think it's love, and they don't know that that's not love. It's called attachment development. What a kid develops just to survive in a tribe, they have to mimic and they have to mimic. It's basically mimicry. And when a child starts mimicking the narcissist, by the way, sometimes it doesn't work out because if the narcissist is really bad, control freak, that kid starts exhibiting the control freak thing back at them, just as mimicry, as the style of communication that they learned is necessary to fit in to get what they need. And then the narcissist starts punishing them for doing that, and they don't know that that's just mimicry, that it's not even them. They got the false self going. That's what narcissism is. And then now, with the punishment about that false self coming back, it's really a reflection of the narcissist coming back at them from their kid. They start fucking it up. See, narcissists have a hard time with kids. They love kids. They're very good with kids until the kids start getting their own minds and reflecting back that, okay, they get past this is just the truth about the mechanics of psychology in psychology as a child. Child psychology involves this mechanic that the narcissist does not even bother to fucking look and see. Oh, did you know there's a mechanism happening that is called hyper learning as a child, and you have to be very careful. From 0 to 3, they're learning about how they should react emotionally towards their own emotions. They're looking at you. How do I respond to this? And to their emotional outbreak, to their feelings and how they need help and all that stuff. They're getting schooled from you by your reaction to them. By the age 3, that emotional communication and education is sealed. Their emotional personality is sealed by the age 3. Now they're getting into their bodies. Pardon me while I put my cat up on the shelf. Trying to get into the body. A lot of kids get into the body earlier, but I'm talking about a serious bodily shift done by the awareness, which is called individuation separation. You're no longer, see, a little baby will think that they are that body still, especially the mother, for at least 2 to 3 years old. And there needs to be individuation separation. This is where, especially with the little boy, she has to, as a mother, now I'm explaining what possibly could be causing extreme narcissism and the problem with the programming that we can't keep birthing with that which is so dangerous that causes the inhospitable ecological desert-like conditions within what is the human draw that we have to kind of interact with. The mother, when she has a little boy, and this starts now, I've heard this, it starts at the nipple. I'll explain. It's the matter of, okay, now if she's a mature mother, she's only going to know that she's feeding the child. She's got to feed the child, and she does that with her breast, and so it's there, and she knows that when it's done, a lot of times that the milk will come out of the mouth. Now, if it's a boy, you know this thing that women are doing, having children. Well, they have, if they're a mental case, they're doing something else, by the way. Narcissists grab everything for a different reason than other people. See, other people will grab a cup of water because they're thirsty and they're quenching their thirst and they experience that. Narcissists do it for something else. They don't get, and it's not a good example about the water because that's kind of a natural thing, and they will get it into them, but you'll be like, God, do you even like swallow it? They just go. They're very just. They don't even know the reason why to stop and do that stuff because they have to get attention. They're on their way to do some more attention-seeking stuff or whatever it is they're doing, escaping from. A lot of times it's just making escape from being present to people, and so they're running all the time, and that's masked in your 14-hour day workers. Just really battling your own shadows, and then your relationships are kind of piss poor. People are wanting a deeper association, and it's hard with that. Getting back to the intricacies of breastfeeding, the moments when the child is full, and so the purpose of the child having their head right up there, by the way, the breast is about this big, and so a man that ends up liking really big breasts, they're just going back to that time of being, and they're probably highly disrespectful. They only see breasts because here's what happens. Talking about the mental case giving breastfeeding. Now, these could be the ones that are walking out saying, I can breastfeed wherever I want, really. And they're just like, I think I'll do it now. They're like, trying to get it to fucking feed. And it's like, is the fucking baby hungry? If you're a natural mother, you can figure out it must be hungry now. I should feed it. And then it is spontaneous because actually your body, see, I don't know much about it, but I was around mothers and their body, your body will start to rhythmically tune in. By the time the baby needs to eat, the breasts are leaking out onto their shirt. It's time to feed, obvious. See, but what can happen with the activity-oriented mental goddamn cases called narcissists going south is that it's just they don't really know the purpose of eating or anything like that, right? And so the fidgeting starts to happen. They start to get the baby's playing with the nipple. It starts to bite it. It's done eating. You don't let it do that. You take it away. And see now with skipping your exciting part about breastfeeding and stuff like that, you don't treat yourself like you're the boss there. You have a rhythm and a timing that's happening, and it's divine. It speaks for itself. Surrender. There's God. But if you're a control freak, you're going to think that you're doing all that. Good for you. That's not right. And your children will hate you for that because life is much easier than thinking that you have control over everything. Right? Yeah. Getting back to, God, this is 80% that I'm really trying to address. And it's like, are you here? Hit like and subscribe. Go make it go viral because, man, are we sick and tired of hiding away from this society? Getting back to the bullies that call themselves the family orientation. Well, you got to be careful of that because money will definitely make it click better. And there's where we get just, you're not becoming human. Somehow I think it's digressed. So now getting back to I'm trying to explain now what the woman needs to do after she figures out that it's done eating. You don't make yourself appear as just a dispensary. You're a human being to that thing. And see, now this is particularly with the male, the boy. Why? Because he can get fucked up. The whole society can get fucked up um, if she dehumanizes herself. And she's very much in danger now. If she's a narcissist, having a problem with her narcissist, she never could bring up a human being. She dared to have a child without making it a human through her sex, making sure it's sane, humane there. The man she's having sex with. First of all, she has to care for her body in such a way that she knows how to make herself feel good. She has been masturbating and she has orgasms. That's just how she's designed. Can't afford anything more or less. And this is in case, ladies and gentlemen, minute 17 and a half, you want to help bring up a human civilization, at least give them their rights to be here. I'm pretty sure there should be 2 constitutions. And it's easy to separate these people out because they don't know what poison is, the difference between poisoning themselves environmentally and each other than the ones who say, no, we don't have to do that. We can do it a different way, a more holistic way, a more organic way. See, they'll do it the money way, which is pure poison, right? I mean, it's happening now. This is what I've experienced. So I hope everybody sees this. This needs to be this delicacy of, okay, so do you know about narcissism? Really, what is it though? I have been studying. My family, my dad in particular, he has studied about the mind. He was a probation officer from having just the credentials of being a counselor in a reform school for boys, military MP. So what I'm saying is he has this discipline, right, of the world, and then he was really wanting to help people. You can tell, and he did. He became a hypnotherapist. Not just he studied this, and he was on his way to 9 years of college as a psychologist. This is stemming in when he met my mother and was inching in. And he began to notice something wrong with the system and the way they kept piling up symptoms. When he was on the study of no, there's like one problem, and that's the mind, that's the illness, because that's what the East says, that's what Buddhism says. He was mixing that in with it, and he helped a lot of people. That's all I ever hear about people around him, from people around him. It's like, no, he helped me a lot. He helped me a lot. Because I'm kind of hard on him. He just kind of fell apart. Whatever he found out, his mind saw that they are making the practice of psychology a farce into a medicine that is false. And so what he did was he opened up an isolation tank because he was into meditation and the real cure and the nature of the mind and everything. And when he saw it was farcing out, going to the Western philosophy that is a farce, that says things about the mind that's not true, which is to say, give it all its power, let it be the boss. It's creating reality. And you own your truth. This is where Joe Dispenza comes in, and but you can see where there's a point where it just completely contradicts. Talk about that figure eight thing that goes whoop, and then it's like, whoa, what happened to the mind? Well, you just went into the body, and now you forced yourself a behavior, and after 40 days, your mind gets it. And now you have just you've done something through a behavior. I do it all the time. I'm in Aries rising. It's like, no, you program your mind through your bodily behaviors. That's really what I think. I speak for women. It's like that's what women are doing. They can't afford to think that their bodies are gonna their brains are gonna do everything, because their bodies might be. They're not the bodybuilder like I was talking about. They have other powers. They have psychological powers, which means they have power over their mind, hon, over it. The way that they are energy efficient in doing things, just cut it down smaller. We can get it done just the same. It's more peaceful that way. We're not dragging some agenda in behind it. It's just um, that is what we're doing is what we're doing, and these tribes need to come back where we do identify ourselves as just men and women, and say, well, if now it happens naturally. If there is to be reproduction and stuff, it works itself out. Where, see, a woman is not going to mess around. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mess with it because there's too much of an imbalance. And I just said, this is weird. I would love to be of service, but I'm not going to be of service like that. You know what I mean? And you could still turn the place around by doing your very um, profound duty, especially as a woman. And I speak for women because that's what I am. To bring the narcissist up into being human, and you do that through your sex, and it's tedious. I feel that they should, when you if and when you succeed, it should be recognized. You should be paid a lot of money because, first of all, you're not dangerous. You're not going to buy a gun. You're most likely going to do something of a relaxed state that's like, now I can help even more. See, with me, it's like, how do I stop worrying about money to where I can just write those several books that I really think I should write, because I like to have fun. I like to do my joy. My joy is my outlet, what I just did here, motivational speaking, maybe. Who is going to like it, who is not, I don't really care. No artist does. Once I hit stop, I just threw it out. It's burned, and we'll go to court. We're going to have to go to court more and more. See, I imagine my generation being the Libra generation, it's all about pulling up justice, just pulling it up and say, phew, and let's talk about what narcissists are doing to everything. Even if marriage did have a purpose to what? There's an energetic bond that's unquestionable, and if you don't honor that through a sacred initiation or say ritual that just says we recognize love and our connection celestially, and even here we've been together forever and this is how we do this, then I think you guys are faking it. See, getting back to the phenomena of friends versus family. See, there isn't any other higher of a role to be to one another than a good friend. Even your priest, your dentist, I don't know about dentists, click that aside. Your teacher, a police officer, a judge, your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, all of them have the potentiality of becoming the highest role to you to be played, as well as you to them, and that is to be just a good friend. No wife or husband, when they've stayed together for 50 years or 60, none of them say, oh, I just married my husband or wife, although narcissists call each other my wife and my husband. Oh, my husband, my wife. That's dehumanization, by the way. What the real loving people say to each other when they ask, well, how did you stay married for 65 years? What they say is that I just married my best friend. That's all.